Hi, I'm Erlene Coates with Everyday University, and I want to welcome you back to Expert Interview Tuesday. And today I have a very dear friend of mine, Heidi Craig, here. And again, we're focusing this month on mindset. And so this is May Mindset or Mindset May, however you want it to be. But I have different experts that come with a little bit different background, a different take on mindset, but it's all in order to help set the solid foundation for each and every one of you. And so I'm going to take Heidi back through a journey of her life. Heidi was actually at the top of her industry when it came to being a horse trainer. She's trained numerous kids on horseback riding and has worked at a career, a business that she absolutely loved. But then somewhere along the way, some of the foundations that we're going to be learning here were missed. And so I'm going to take her back to the place where she got started, and then we'll go back and forth here a little bit. And so Heidi, I know you were doing something you absolutely loved, you were passionate about, you enjoy the horses, you enjoyed the kids. And so tell me just a little bit about that.
Sure. I trained horses for over 20 years, trained hunter jumpers, and I ran a very successful children's riding camp up in Aspen, Colorado. I was the person in that area who took riding from sort of a seasonal sport to a year-round sport, and then took that whole industry in that area really up to, a show level, and that was nationwide. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was one of those things for me that was very rewarding with the animals and very rewarding with the kids always. And for me, the most important part was the ability to help beginners, whether it was children or adults, really overcome their fears and do some very simple things on horses that were fun. And then get up to the competition level if that's where they wanted to go. And, financially for me, I was very successful at it. The business, when I retired from it, was 10 years very, very strong and paying me a six-figure income, and it was great. But the problem I had was that for some weird reason, at the end of every month, there was more month than money. It didn't matter how hard I worked. It didn't matter. And all I could think of to make more money was to work harder. And there was a point where physically, especially with horses, that's not a possibility. My other option to make more money was to change directions a little bit and move up in that industry. But that would mean, in my opinion, compromising my integrity. And I just couldn't do that either. I obviously have no poker face, so I couldn't do that.
Yeah. So there were a couple things that you said, and I want to touch back on that. And you pointed out that you took adults as well as children to the place of overcoming their fear.
True.
And so, in life, there are many things that you're going to do. And, many of my audience may be out there looking at wanting to start a business, wanting to do something they really love, but they're afraid. And so, comments?
Well, it's interesting. We spoke a little bit earlier about skill sets that translate from career to career.
Yep.
And what's funny about that is in my next career and sort of the impetus for changing careers is really, I know where you and I are going with this today, but I also want to point out that from career to career, there are skill sets that transfer. The one I transferred was helping people overcome their fears of the basics. And we were in business quite a long time. We took a lot of brand new business owners from, I want to start a business to, okay, let's just break it down in little tiny bites to let's take step one together and let's see how that feels, And that also is very rewarding, and it was very rewarding in my life. So, the most giant mistakes that I've made that I'm so grateful to share, because this will give anybody else watching an opportunity to maybe bypass or maybe take a little bit shorter route around these giant, roadblocks. But I think really what we're getting at is, anything, honestly, in life is the new things come with a degree of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there have been a million books out there written with the title of Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Right.
But that was me. I really helped people through feeling the fear and then taking those little steps to get it done anyway and accomplishing, little step by little step by little step, to where then they had like a big accomplishment. And then it was like, wow, I can't even believe it took so many steps.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that you said that I don't want to overlook the importance of, and that was compromising your integrity. And so at the point where throughout life, there will be decisions and there will be points in life that you're going to come across something where it's a choice of, I can take myself to the next level, but in order to do that, I compromise my integrity, or I can find a different path. And so I think that, one of the things that I appreciate most about you, and it's one of the things that's a standard that I hold high for myself, is integrity. And so the fact that you didn't just let yourself fall into that, but you instead then translated that into okay, I've got to find a different path.
Yeah.
Now, I know you went down the road and found a different path, and you again reached places where you were earning six-figure incomes. And then, but one of the key pieces that was missing, you really only learned a couple, 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. I knew how to earn, because earning, and even in a mindset, you really don't try. You either do or you don't. And it's fine either way, but that I think is all about learning how to be honest with yourself. And that's not the easiest skill set. That's probably the most challenging skill set.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, and I know, Arlene, you would agree with me, it is probably the most valuable and the most worth it. Because regardless of the pain that it takes to say those things to yourself that you need to hear, the results are so worth it that you wouldn't change that. At least I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. And so, you've gone through the highs, but you've also gone through lows as far as your life. And part of what my goal and my mission as far as Everyday University is to help maybe cut off that lows section in life for those by establishing some fundamentals. Yeah. And you missed out on those fundamentals. So I know that you grew up in a household where finances wasn't taught, and so maybe some of the kids that are listening, or even adults that are listening, are saying, okay, yeah, well, what does that look like? And so,
what do I really need to know?
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I think that for me, the example that was given to me as far as finances were concerned was a feast or famine. And we did plenty of feasting, but the famine was really famine. I mean, it was really low. And that was only because we didn't have any of that median, which I think are the skill sets that you really, purport, and that you really show people how to handle. The median where you can, when you earn those bigger sums, because you can, when you earn those bigger sums, a little bit more strategy about what to do. And so the lows are not planned for, but let's face it, after day comes night. After summer comes fall. After winter comes spring. It's not like the highs and the lows are going to change. So since we all can agree that even Mother Nature shows us that that's a universal law, planning for those, even on the most basic level, will make them more bearable, less frightening. You'll have less of the experience of the lowest of the low. And those are simple financial skills. I think that in Everyday University, man, like I said, if you're watching this, you're really lucky to be watching it. Watch it now. Otherwise, you could end up in my shoes where, you do something for over 20 years, you adore it, you get to the top of it, but you step away from it because you don't know how to translate the other parts of living. You don't know how to manage the other parts of living without these real basic fundamental financial skills.
Yeah, and I think that one of the key pieces is that, again, you stepped away from something you really loved, and you took the skills that you had there, you translated them into something else that that then created more money, but you still didn't have the foundation as far as the tools to be able to budget, plan for what you're gonna, what are your expenses, what are your plans from the savings standpoint?
And let's just even break that out, only because if you are starting a new business, and I see this a lot, I see it a lot in a lot of entrepreneurs that I know. I see it in very successful business people. They are called business people, but that doesn't mean they have business basics. And what I mean by that is, take a look at your business, or take a look at a business that you're planning on starting, and get those fundamental pieces in place. They're called expenses and income. There's only two pieces. That's it. And then you break out the income break out the expenses into personal expenses and business expenses. And really, if you understand those three concepts, and you can just plug your money into one of those three places, that right there goes light years for building a solid foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then shifting us back a little bit more along the mindset line, you've gone through years of a journey of ongoing personal development, personal growth when it comes to, there's the pain that goes along with that. There's the fear that goes along with that. There's all of those other kinds of things. But as we start thinking about mindset, what are some of the things that you would say are absolute musts as someone starts looking at life in general, looking at starting a business, looking at just going to be a good, solid employee with a job for a while, as they look to what is the next step for them. But there's still, from a mindset standpoint, there's a really key element there.
Yeah. I think that the number one key element in any positive, productive mindset is learning to be honest with yourself. That for me has been number one. And I have helped a lot of people from start to, basics to middle to success. And every single one of them, what's the number one thing you've learned that has helped you be so successful? It is I never get a different answer. It is how to be honest with myself. That's what I've learned. And like I said earlier, it's one of the hardest things, but I think it's one of the most valuable things, because, and I'm not saying that you can get there on your own. Please don't misunderstand me. Do not take me out of context. You need to find wherever is going to resonate with you, someone who has learned to be honest with themselves, that you find, for me, one of the people that really helped me was Brene Brown. Another person that really helped me with mindset was Anthony Robbins. Anthony Robbins showed me, and I know Arlene went to this too, he showed me that no matter what, my mind could overcome scientific facts. And that, once you experience that, because I can sit here and say, and you guys are, you can just say whatever you want, feel however you want to feel when I say it. You can hear it all day long. But once you actually experience it your own physical self, it's a huge piece to allowing you to use your mind like the tool that it is. It's a huge, huge asset. We all have one. And learning to use that asset to for your best self. Mm-hmm. That, to me, the basic underlying, current that runs through that is learn to be honest with yourself. Go wherever you have to go to find out how to do that for yourself. Listen to whoever you need to, read whoever you need to, go to. Don't stop. Just don't stop. Don't stop looking for that, because if you can find that one thing, so much more stuff opens up for you. Things you can't even think about now. Your mind hasn't even gotten to that level yet. It's cool. You'll think about stuff and you'll look back, like I think about stuff now and I'm like, oh my God, if I had known this 20 years ago, I would have probably bypassed so much pain.
But just think, had you bypassed all that pain, there's lessons you're not teaching somebody else along the way, right?
True. Yeah. And I wouldn't change a minute, honestly.
Yeah, no, I know. And I know you and I both really agree in that area as well. But I think the key of what I was hearing is that, we all want to be a lifelong learner. And you're looking for where you're learning and just continuing to craft and grow your skill set. And, I know from the financial side of the picture, that was one that you would have liked to have had some education several years back that you just got a couple years ago.
If they had a class I took in the high school, if they had a class in high school for those basics, forget about it.
Mm-hmm. And so you would have had that foundation. But and I think that the other thing is that we're all on a journey and we're all on a path. And there are people who have blazed the trail ahead of us. So learn from them, avoid the pitfalls along the way, but also continue to look for those new areas of growth for yourself. And
Early within yourself.
Right.
Because what I really value, the lesson I value the most is that in learning to be honest with myself, that's an internal job. That's an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that you said yourself, I've done that, run the gamut on exterior research. But the only person who has the answers for what's right for me is me.
Yeah.
People can tell you, oh, you're too young, you don't know. Oh, you're too old. Oh, you're whatever. The exterior can do this to you all day long. Society, our television, stop watching TV.
Yeah.
All we get all day long is this, and. You know what? That's all great. Take from it whatever you want. But the one person, and you're the only you.
Yeah.
You are the only you in the universe.
Right.
And you know what's best for yourself. So get that inside job started and keep at it.
Yeah. And, I think going back to the real key piece of why I invited you here to take you down memory lane, some of it good, some of it challenging to talk about, was the point you started out with a dream. You started out doing something in life that you absolutely loved. You were missing some of the basic foundations, which means that today, many years later, you're no longer doing the thing that you really loved because of limitations and because of a lack of training. And so part of what we're getting here is more of that education out for the kids at a younger age. I know that it's not taught in school, it's not around, and so it's one of those that you would have, absolutely loved to have years back. You didn't, and so you're a great example of someone who gave up on your dreams because, in part, there was you'll never make it to retire doing what you're doing the way that you're doing it. And so you're now reinventing yourself. And I know that
the Heidi Renaissance.
as you're at that now, you've got several things that you're really focused on at this point. And I know that a lot of pouring back into the community, a lot of pouring back into nonprofits and others. And so you want to talk a little bit about some of those areas and where this journey has taken you on the path from doing something you love to circling back to, in many ways, a new love, but also getting back into the areas that you started out.
True. And I think that the most important part of what you said was sort of circling back to what I'm passionate about, what makes me excited to wake up in the morning and think about doing. Again, the life lessons have brought me full circle in the sense that now my opinion is, if I'm not doing something that really excites me, or I feel like I want to do something that helps other people. I don't want to just be on the planet to make money and spend it and just do that. I've already done that. And you know what? It's pretty empty.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's like eating chocolate cake. Honestly, it's exactly like that. You eat the chocolate cake, tastes great in your mouth, but the problem is your hind end grows. And it's not good for your immune system, but we won't go there. The point is, it tastes great, but it's not satisfying. It's not sustaining. And so making all the big dollars and spending all the money and having all the fun tastes great, but it's not sustaining. What's sustaining for me is to do something that matters to me, to do something that matters that I feel like I'm making a difference. So regardless now of what I'm going to make doing it, I don't care. What I care about is what I'm doing benefiting other people? Is what I'm doing making a difference on our planet? Because how many trips do we get?
Right. Exactly.
We get one trip. And in that one trip, the only thing that we all have in common, because the financial thing runs the gamut, the only thing we have in common is time. And the time we can never get back. Mm-hmm. So, spend your time doing something that means something to you, or it will be gone. And right now I've got a project that's helping nonprofits get donations. And for me, you can absolutely, if you have a nonprofit that needs donations or needs help getting donations, definitely you can get my information from Erlene. But it's really important to me to be able to be a support for those supporting programs that support so many people who need their help. I want to be that next layer of help for them.
Yeah, and as you say that, I think that brings back one of Zig Ziglar's quotes that I absolutely love, and that is, help enough other people get what they want in life and you'll get what you want. And so the reality is that, one, you get great fulfillment by doing that. I know that, that's why I'm doing what I do, is because I love to help people. And, throughout your life, I think that's been an underpinning. True. Yes, you threw in the highs and lows of the spending and making money side of it, but that still has been a core one of your values, is that you're actively seeking to help people. And so for that, I'm one of those you've helped along the path as well. And so I appreciate all that you've done, and appreciate you being willing to come here and spend a little uncomfortable time. This is one of those that, if nothing else, for those who are looking, we're not all perfect. Our life is not all perfect. And just because you're hearing someone tell you they are, I can guarantee they're not. And so what I would challenge you with is, one, take to heart what Heidi's shared here today, the opportunity to live passionately about what she started, and then, kind of a detour and back to really doing something that she's passionate about today. And knowing that the more people you help as you do that, the better success you're going to have in life. So, Heidi, thank you so much for joining me here, being willing to jump on and play with me and help share things that will help make a difference in the community that I'm building here. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.